Today we're talking about something that every artist needs to be aware of, and that is art scams. Because the more visibility your work gets online, the more likely you are to be targeted. And these scams are becoming increasingly sneaky, sophisticated, and sometimes shockingly convincing, and they're catching artists off guard. And it's not just emails anymore. I've heard from artists who've been approached on Instagram, through their contact forms, and even via fake podcast interview requests. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the most common art scams targeting artists right now, what to look out for, the red flags to spot, and how to protect yourself. For more videos on all things related to art business, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified every time I release a new video. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hello, I'm Martha, and I spent over a decade working in the contemporary art world, starting out in galleries in London and eventually becoming a gallery director. I now help artists build sustainable, profitable careers without sacrificing their creativity or their integrity. And inside the Artist Accelerator, I've helped artists go from struggling to sell £80 pieces to confidently selling works for £12,000 and more. I've supported artists in landing full-page magazine features, tripling their online sales, and getting fully booked with commissions for an entire year. I'm hosting a free advanced training on the 7th of May 2026, where I'll be sharing more about the Artist Accelerator program, because we're going to be opening enrollment very soon, along with practical ways to create reliable and sustainable income streams without sacrificing your precious time in the studio. I'd love to see you there. All you need to do is click the link in the description below to apply to get your invite. All right, so grab a notebook and save this video, because knowing these warning signs could potentially save you a lot of stress and potentially a lot of money down the line. Let's start with a classic. So you get an email that says something like, "Hi, my wife saw one of your artworks on your website and I'd love to buy it for our anniversary." Now, it may seem convincing, but unfortunately, this is one of the most well-known art scams going. I'll tell you what the telltale signs are and what to look out for. So the email address may be a string of random letters and numbers, or includes a different name that appears in their name in the sender field. They don't address you by your name. There's no mention of a specific artwork. If you were to progress the email conversation, they offer to pay you more than the price of the artwork, and they insist on paying using a cashier's check. They often use the line "wife's anniversary." Why is it always the wife's anniversary in this scam? I really don't know. Plus, the email is perhaps grammatically poor, or just it feels a little bit off. I even know an artist who deposited one of these checks, and the check appeared to clear, so the artist sent the painting to this person, but a week later the check bounced, and even the bank hadn't realised that it was a fake. So if you ever receive an email or a message like this and you notice some of these red flags, don't reply. The best thing to do is to block the sender and focus your energy elsewhere. Next up is the Instagram DM scam. So these scams are everywhere right now, and it usually starts with a seemingly lovely message like, "I love your artwork, would you be willing to sell it to me?" Now, it sounds promising, and to be fair, plenty of genuine sales do begin this way, but here's where the scam creeps in. So you reply, and maybe you thank them and you point them towards your website or suggest continuing over email. Then when they say they can't access your website but they'd love to pay via PayPal instead, they go on to claim that their PayPal account only gets activated if you send them £400 first. So that's the scam. They'll often make it sound really urgent. They might say that it's for a birthday, or they'll use the old anniversary gift line, and they'll need the work in a rush. And if you hesitate or you'll question it, they quickly get quite pushy or even aggressive. So that's another major red flag. No legitimate buyer will ever ask you to send them money to complete a sale. And if someone claims they want your work but refuses to use a secure, straightforward payment method, walk away. Trust your instincts with this. If it feels a little bit off, it probably is. Then there's a fake commission request scam. So this one catches out a lot of artists because it sounds totally believable at first. And it usually starts with a message on Instagram like, "Hi, I'm looking for a commission for a portrait of my husband for his 50th birthday on the 27th of December. Can you tell me a little bit more about your process and your pricing? I've never done anything like this before." Now, at first glance, again, it seems like a really great opportunity, but there are some telltale signs with this one too. So the sender's profile is private. They often have no posts on there. They have very few followers, but are often following hundreds of random accounts. Now, that's not automatically a red flag, but when it's paired with a vague or formulaic message, it's worth being cautious. The goal here in these scams is often to get you to accept a fake payment. So usually by sending a check, or again, asking to overpay via bank transfer or by PayPal, and then requesting a partial refund or claiming that the payment was made in error. And by the time that the fraud is uncovered, the scammer has disappeared and you're out of pocket. So what can you do if you're unsure in this situation? So you can suggest a quick video call to discuss the commission. Scammers will often always ghost you at this point. You can ask them which one of your works caught their eye in particular, and if it's a genuine request, they'll have to say something specific. Engage the situation and this individual by looking for inconsistencies in their name. Take note of any urgent or emotionally loaded language, such as it's a surprise, or it's for someone's birthday or anniversary. Broken English can be a big giveaway as well. Even a simple line like, which piece of mind did you connect with the most, can be enough to scare off a scammer. Trust your gut. Remember, if something feels off, it probably is. And a few quick clarifying questions can save you a lot of time and stress. Next is the NFT scam, which is still pretty rife at the moment. This one usually targets artists who appear to be not connected with the NFT world in any way. So if you work in a more traditional medium, so you're a painter, a sculptor, you're more likely to be targeted than, say, a digital artist. And this scam often starts with a message like this: I collect NFTs and would love to feature your art online. We can mint it for you and split the profits. Or they might offer to buy one of your artworks and turn it into an NFT, something like that. Now, it might sound exciting at first, but here's what's really going on. They will ask you to send high-resolution digital files and cover a so-called gas fee, which is a crypto transaction fee to mint the NFT. And to do this, they'll ask you to open a crypto wallet. They will throw around words like blockchain, Web3, smart contracts, drops, crypto wallets. And if you're not familiar with those terms, that's exactly what they're banking on. Sometimes they'll even send you a link to a platform that looks legitimate, but is actually fake. And these sites are designed to trick you into connecting your crypto wallet. And once you do, they can use a malicious smart contract to drain your funds or steal your digital assets. In other versions of this scam, they'll simply disappear once you've sent them your artwork or transferred the gas fee to their wallet. So what should you do if you've ever received one of these NFT messages, whether it's on social media or in your inbox? Just delete them and move on. Never click any links, never move your money or your crypto, and absolutely never share an online wallet recovery phrase or sign anything that you don't fully understand. I personally advise all of my clients to steer well clear of NFTs altogether, but as a general rule, if something feels rushed or confusing, that's a red flag, so trust your instincts and walk away. And then this final scam I want to share with you was actually shared with me by an artist inside of the Artist Accelerator. And what happens is you receive a professional looking email, supposedly from a podcast agency or maybe an assistant to a podcast host, and they'll tell you that they have been following you for a while, that they love your work, and they would absolutely love for you to be featured on their podcast to share your experiences as an artist. They might even reference things that you post about beyond your art to make the message feel a little bit more personal. Now, this email will often include a company logo, links to an Instagram page, maybe they'll send you a media kit as well. Sometimes they'll say that it's a paid opportunity and they might ask you what your speaking fee is. So all of these things make this opportunity sound amazing and it all looks really legitimate. Once you agree to be a guest on their podcast, they will ask you to join a test session, which is recorded through Instagram or Facebook. And to do that, they claim that they need temporary access to your accounts. Now, during the call, they'll either ask you to share your screen or give them admin access so that they can help broadcast the episode. And that's the scam. So as soon as you hand over your permissions, they take over your social media accounts. Other versions of this scam are a little bit more straightforward, where they ask you to pay a booking fee up front or an admin cost, and then they disappear as soon as the money hits their account. So here's what to look out for with this particular scam. Look out for emails that sound like they were written by a bot or ChatGPT. They'll often promise huge visibility and the opportunity to get your work in front of a very large audience. But the main giveaway is that no legitimate podcast will ever ask you for admin access to your social media. And if you're caught in the moment and something just feels a little bit off, or you're starting to feel uneasy when they ask for details or any permissions, it's absolutely okay to end the call there and then. You don't owe anyone access to your accounts, and you never need to apologise for protecting your boundaries. If an opportunity like this comes your way and it feels off, or maybe it just feels too good to be true, then what I'd suggest doing is contacting the podcast directly using a verified email or a public contact link from their official website or social media. It's always worth doing this and double checking, because a quick pause before taking any action can save you a lot of stress later on. So here's your quick checklist to help protect you from these online scams. Scammers often don't address you by your first name. That's your first clue. There's nearly always a mention of a wife or a husband's birthday or anniversary for some reason. They often type in broken English or use language that's quite pushy, or this sense of urgency to get you to do something. Do your research, so Google their name, check their Instagram profile or online presence to gauge whether they are a real person or not. And if they claim to be part of a podcast or publication, bypass their request and verify it independently. You want to ask follow-up questions. Scammers often will not respond to you because they just don't want to bother providing any real details. So that's always a good one as well. Never accept checks. Stick to a secure payment method via your website or direct bank transfer. Never send money to a buyer. If someone is asking you to pay them to complete a sale, it is a scam, always. And most importantly, trust your gut. Your intuition is stronger than you realise, so don't dismiss it. You don't want to be overly cynical and assume that everyone who is interested in buying your work must be a scammer. It's about striking that balance and gauging their intent by asking opening questions. I know this whole video might sound off-putting, especially if you're new to selling online, but please don't let this stop you from putting your artwork out there. There are incredible buyers and collectors out there who will genuinely love your work and want to buy your work. This is just about learning what the warning signs are so that you can protect yourself from being taken advantage of. Have you ever been approached by a scammer? Or maybe you know of another art scam out there that I didn't cover here. If so, leave it in the comments down below so that other artists can learn from your experience. And if you want to build a secure professional art business with the system, support and community to back you up, that's exactly what we help you with inside of the Artist Accelerator. You won't be figuring things like this out alone. You'll have an art world expert and a supportive group of fellow artists by your side. So if someone does reach out to you and you're unsure whether it's legitimate or not, you always have those people that you can turn to ask for advice. Artists inside the Accelerator have gone from part-time to full-time artists. They've landed features in top magazines. They've been booked out in commissions for an entire year in advance. And they've made $250,000 from their art in a single year. If you're ready for that kind of transformation, apply to attend the free advanced training that I'm going to be hosting live on the 7th of May 2026. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, let me know by liking it, commenting down below, and subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video.